So everyone's helping each other out here. And if this show draws well, could you imagine however many other shows Ring of Honor will run out of Madison Square Garden on top of the shows that WWE will run out of MSG? And now they might be running more Raws and everything out of MSG. They have money. Just do it. I don't know what kind of deal Ring of Honor and MSG worked out, but this is obviously going to be a big thing. So happy for everybody involved. I'm happy as a fan that I have an option now other than WWE. Now, I can go to any independent show. I don't have time, but there's definitely that feeling of I have to buy the ticket to see this show. And I will schedule and everything permitting, I will be there. But more on that as time goes on. Anyway, let me just take a quick music break here for a little bit. And on the other side, we will come back with NXT call-up, quote, failures, as well as another interesting piece of news on this day in the world of pro wrestling. So hang in there tight, and I will be right back after this. All right, welcome back to Open Mic Wrestling Night here on Fill in the Void Podcast Network. And before I get to the next couple of things I want to get to, I just want to share also that Open Mic Wrestling Night is searchable on Spotify. That's right. Not only is the Fill in the Void Podcast network of shows on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is now, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Stitcher, Player FM, iHeartRadio. Now myself and all of us are on Spotify. This is a big deal for everybody involved. Thank you so much to the listeners for your support throughout this whole time. And we'll continue to do our best to provide quality content that you could be proud of, and who knows what will be of the future for us. This would be a big deal. Anyway, let's get to this report, and this one has been making its rounds all day. This one I found on Powerhouse Nation, pwpnation.com. Report: Paul Heyman joins writing team on WWE Monday Night Raw. Now, before we get into the article, well, you know what? Let's get to the article first. According to a report via Fightful.com, Paul Heyman was reportedly listed as a writer on last week's Raw production sheet and apparently played a big part in writing the Roman Reigns-Bobby Lashley brawl to start the show. The report states that Fightful asked WWE if Heyman would be joining the writing team officially, and they wouldn't provide a, quote, straight answer, end quote. The report also cites that WWE was very unhappy that this news was broken. It is unclear how long Heyman is expected to be working with the writing team, or if he will be joining them going forward. And that's the end of the article. And this one I find very interesting. Needless to say, you know, this is kind of I kind of don't know how to react to this one, to be honest, because you know, basically with all the big moves that other companies are making in pro wrestling right now, WWE might feel threatened that people are going to go elsewhere to, seek out programming, which, while I understand where they're coming from, me as a wrestling fan, who cares? Because now people have variety in which, to look forward to. And this could be one of many things. One, when Brock Lesnar inevitably leaves the WWE for UFC full-time, what's going to be a Paul Heyman? People look forward to seeing Paul Heyman. Now, Paul Heyman was the head writer of SmackDown during the initial brand split. When Bischoff had his hand on Raw, Heyman had his hand on SmackDown, and Heyman's writing on SmackDown, it gave SmackDown a ratings boost over Raw. Now, but, to be fair, back in the, when Heyman was writing for him, look at the roster he had. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Big Show, Edge, I believe Edge was there, among other talents, and he had the Cruiserweight division at that time, I believe. The writing difference when Heyman was in control versus when he was eventually relieved of his duties was significant. Now, then he had then he was in charge of WWECW, and then was relieved of those duties. Him and Stephanie McMahon just don't get along. That's the first reason why this is so surprising, because Vince McMahon, while he's still in charge, Triple H is kind of moving in on, eventually taking over the WWE as far as the talent's concerned, while Stephanie handles the office pretty much. And obviously Triple H is married to Stephanie. I don't know what his relationship is like with Paul Heyman. And you've heard Heyman say in interviews, like when he was let go, he eventually started the Heyman Hustle, and that's been doing well. So what's going on with the Heyman Hustle at this point? Is that still bringing in any money? Is he still working on the Heyman Hustle as much? Has he been bitten by the bug to come right for wrestling again? is this a full-time fix? Is this a full-time fix? Is this just, come and go with Heyman as he is around? Heyman, as much as he says, or he would say he doesn't, or anything of that sort, he still watches the WWE. He's still very in tune with what the people want, the wrestling fan. He still knows what the consumer wants as far as wrestling is concerned. He knows how to build talent. He still knows how to rub people the wrong way, obviously. I'm just very interested to see how this works out. Now, where this is even more interesting is, why wouldn't you have Paul Heyman go back and writing SmackDown? Not that it really needs it. I mean, SmackDown's been doing pretty good, in my opinion. With Fox, having this deal with WWE for the SmackDown rights, and now they're basically making this SmackDown the flagship show, with this big deal on Fox. But who knows? I found this to be a very interesting report, as did a lot of people, because the internet exploded over, like, oh my god, he's actually back to writing the programming. And if he's on Raw, make Brock lose the title. I saw that once or twice, but enough. People, enough. I mean, you people that are saying that are not complaining that Chris Jericho is the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and he'll more than likely have that title until the event at Madison Square Garden. But that being said, it's interesting to see where this will go and what this will lead to. Okay. Now, from that story to the other topic in which I was going to talk about here on the show this week, and that is the NXT call-up failures. Now, this is a topic that I want to talk about, not in great detail. It's basically the tale of two worlds. Yeah, the WWE main brand, which is obviously ran with an iron fist still by Vince McMahon, whereas you have NXT run with an iron fist by Triple H. That is his baby. And it's two completely different worlds. WWE versus NXT. Now, NXT is basically... Now, for me, it's the super indies that have taken over the show. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. A lot of these guys obviously have a name that they've built up through the independents. They have name equity. That's why they're bringing these guys in now as their independent personalities. You barely look at a guy like Kevin Owens as an NXT guy because of the success he's had in the WWE main roster. He didn't have that long of a run in NXT anyway. You look at a guy like... Now, you look at guys like Cesaro and the Wyatts, Bray, and then the Bludgeon Brothers. Sometimes you wind up forgetting that these guys were in NXT, but they were. And a lot of these guys, they are being viewed as underappreciated, underused, underutilized. You look at the Authors of Pain, who were a big part of NXT's tag team division with the